NLP: Hypnosis, Meditation, and Changing Your Beliefs. Written by Hendrik Kramers. Narrated by Sarah Margrave. Chapter 1: The Breakdown of the Term. Let's break down the name just a bit so you'll comprehend the foundations before moving forward. Neuro represents the mind and how it influences and manages the body. It is a lot more than just the physical brain. Rather, it is the way that the brain impacts the body on both mindful and subconscious levels. Linguistic means the way an individual uses language, words, tone, declarations, questions, etc. Language is a powerful window into what a person thinks, and by observing a person's language, it is possible to discover a great deal about her or him. The last part of the name, programming, creates confusion when it isn't correctly described. This part of NLP isn't about setting an individual to think certain things, do things a certain way, or feel a particular way. Instead, programming is the process of taking a look at the patterns and thinking an individual uses repeatedly, their programs, and how they impact that individual's life. Everybody has their own programs, but many people just aren't aware of them and the impact they have. Pop culture or valid change. NLP isn't without its critics. Some say that it is not a proper discipline just because it is not scientifically proven to be efficient. Others take a more psychological stance, assaulting it as New Age silliness and cult-like programming. To a certain extent, these criticisms are actually valid. NLP isn't empirically shown, and there have been severe examples of specialists misusing NLP to take advantage of others. However, this does not mean NLP was actually without value just because of a few severe examples. These sorts of criticisms don't take into account one extremely essential thing. NLP truly works. Anyone can do it with just fundamental training in the strategies, and there is definitely no lack of people who have changed their lives using NLP techniques. How does NLP have such a dramatic impact? The easiest way to clarify how NLP produces such incredible results is that it is an easy, simple technique to communication and personal development. NLP efficiently works with the structure of how people hold their truths in place, whether it be a basic association one can make with a certain tune or entire belief systems about how they think the world to be. People who study NLP learn right away the tools and abilities they need to directly and intentionally change thoughts and behaviors. There is another critical element that has a direct influence on the efficiency of NLP: practice. Just like anything else, NLP strategies should be practiced and used frequently for them to be most reliable. Lots of people attend workshops or seminars to learn about NLP, and that is where they learn what they need to know. The real work and real development begins when participants head back out into the real world and concentrate on applying what they have learned in their everyday lives. NLP is a well-known and reliable technique to personal growth and development. It is useful and behavior-based, which makes it fairly basic to teach and put into practice. The techniques can be used by anyone who knows them as a powerful tool for enhancing lives. Chapter 2: Changing Your Inner Beliefs. In NLP, we check out the impact of beliefs. We are interested in how they affect us and how we are prepared to examine and try out different beliefs to see what works best. If our company believes we can, we most likely will. If we believe we cannot, we're likely to not even try, or try with an attitude of passiveness and unwillingness. What's so crucial about beliefs? Some beliefs are a psychological practice, without any real-world evidence supporting them. This is natural, and even the most skeptical-minded amongst us have some beliefs like that. One of the actually fascinating qualities about beliefs is that we can hold them at a deep level. We assume that they're true and do not realize how they are affecting what we do. We can even hold them in such a manner that we get truly upset if somebody dares to question them. There are two aspects of a belief to be familiar with: the belief itself and the implications of that belief. The belief itself is typically a generalization about a person or something. I'm always bad at job application interviews. Senior supervisors don't listen to me. Nobody from X company will fit in here. The implication of a belief is the effect that belief has on what we do. I can believe all sorts of things, but if they do not impact me or others, they're not truly pertinent for this conversation. We're not necessarily worried at this time whether things hold true or not. What's more important is the question. If the things I believe are not demonstrably true and are damaging or hindering those around me, why do I hold on to them? NLP presuppositions. The co-founders of NLP discovered that the people they modeled, Milton Erickson, Virginia Satir, and Fritz Perls, who were extremely effective at helping others change, had a number of similar useful beliefs. Those are useful beliefs for us to adopt when helping others develop and change. We have reworded them partially. We connect to the world through our senses. This is apparent, though the ramifications aren't always analyzed. We build our maps of reality based on our sensory input. The better we see, look, hear, and connect to our emotions, and the less we filter the info we get, the better our maps will be. The better we'll connect and communicate with the world. Our memories are built from this sensory input. When we change some of the qualities of this sensory input, for example, we make our psychological images more or less vibrant, we change the experience itself. That means we learn how to improve and reinforce our good and beneficial memories and minimize the effect of our less beneficial ones. Our map isn't the area. The depiction we hold of the world is our internal map based upon our experiences and filters. It isn't the exact same as the next individual's map, and neither of them are the exact same as reality. When we do not communicate with others, it isn't an irreversible problem. It's to do with our model of the world, our maps. We communicate better when our maps are lined up with those of other individuals and the world itself. The better we acknowledge the other individual's map, the more they understand us. For example, if our clients are more visual, we're better off using visual words. If they are inspired to enjoyment, we should use some of the exact same words and similar postures. Even if somebody has a map that's flat out wrong, it is usually better to start from any place there and then lead them to someplace more helpful. One of the benefits of checking out NLP is that we become more knowledgeable about our internal maps and those of others. The ability to change the process by which we experience reality is usually better than changing the content of our experience of reality. Bad things happen. That is the content of reality sometimes. We cannot change that content, and not accepting it can be hazardous to us. However, do have some control. We can change how we respond to it. We can change what we learn much from it. NLP has tons of tools we can use to change the process of how we react and act to whatever happens. We can't always control the cards that we are dealt. Our key choice is how we play them. The meaning of the communication is the reaction we receive at that time. If people do not react in the way we want, it's a sign that we need to change the way we communicate. I do not judge how successful my communication is by what I think. It's about how others react. If at first I don't get the results I want, I just keep returning with similar and different approaches until I do. The resources and individual needs for change are already within them. When we have overall faith in a person, it can make a substantial difference on how rapidly and well they have success. When our company believes someone has all the resources they need, it alters the way we associate with them. We will tend to lightly coach and motivate rather than put them down. There is a secondary point to this. The best change always begins with within, not from outside. Attempting to change others can work. However, it normally disempowers the other person. Believing in a person is empowering. Feedback is always beneficial. We can view success and failure as unavoidable parts of life. We don't learn how to walk without falling over. The moment we stop making mistakes is the time we stop learning. When we fail, feedback can show a route to success instead. When we're successful, insulating ourselves from feedback plants the seeds of future failure. Perhaps the real fear to overcome is the fear of failure. In its place, we want a great strategy for making great decisions. That is what stops us being as successful as we want. The positive worth of the person is held consistent, while the value and suitability of internal and/or external behavior is questioned against a certain outcome. We know this is a lot. We hold the individual in continuous high regard while still having the ability to explore, question, and challenge if what they are doing is helping them to attain what they want. Our task is not to make personal judgments or remarks. It's to uncover precise info to help them to attain what they want. There is a positive objective motivating each behavior and a setting in which each conduct has value. Behaviors are only good or bad in the context of achieving some result. We're not into removing bad behaviors, as they could be really useful in other times and places. However, we might suggest more helpful behaviors depending on the task at hand. Sometimes it's actually useful to reveal the positive intention behind our behavior. When we have real choices, we'll naturally make the best one. Our job is to give people real choices, not just predicaments. Dilemmas rush you into thinking about the lower of two evils, though the choices that we want to create have at least three alternatives, and we know not only the why, what, and how of doing them, but we also know that we can take them. How can we alter our beliefs? By taking on the ramifications of the belief. If I think I cannot prosper because I'm not smart enough, and the ramification of that belief is that I do not begin trying, then by starting, doing something about it and finding that I move on, I'm going to begin to change the belief that I am unintelligent. By asking meta-model type questions, we understand the belief doesn't make a lot of sense, which begins the change process of weakening or changing the belief. When we have weakened the old belief, it deserves changing it with something more helpful. Even so, we want to ensure the new belief is both helpful and fits with who we are. And a belief being useful or not, the degree that our company believes it makes an important difference. It's useful to believe some things with outright certainty. Suggested beliefs exercises. Beliefs change. Circle of excellence. This is an efficient belief change exercise where you step into a fictional circle on the floor. As you step into the circle, you imagine having an actually helpful belief and imagine what changes, however small, when you have that belief. If you are not sure what might be a helpful belief, use one of the NLP presuppositions above. An example could be this: try feedback is always helpful. What would change if you really actually believed it held true? It is often beneficial to complete the exercise separately with all the NLP presuppositions above. Which worked the best? What other beliefs could you now check out? What would you do differently in the future if you held one of these beliefs better? Imagine yourself doing it at an appropriate time in the future. Beliefs change. Submodality change. This exercise checks out how we represent beliefs differently based upon how highly our company believes or disbelieves them. First of all, we really need to decide on 3 beliefs. The belief we want, that we do not believe in yet, for example, people that work hard enough can make it in this market. A reference belief that we're definitely certain about, for example, I can feel my knee with hand. A belief we neither believe or disbelieve, for example, something we do not really care about in either case. This is an example. What it may or mightn't say on the front of a tabloid paper. How can we change beliefs? By dealing with the implications of the belief. If I think I cannot succeed because I'm not intelligent enough, and the ramification of that belief is that I don't begin trying, then by beginning, acting, and finding that I move forward, I am going to begin to change the belief that I'm unintelligent. By asking meta-model type questions, we understand the belief doesn't make a lot of sense, which starts the change process of weakening or changing the belief. When we have weakened the old belief, it deserves replacing it with something more helpful, though we want to ensure the new belief is both beneficial and fits with who we are. And a belief being useful or not, the degree that we believe it makes a real difference. It works to believe some things with absolute certainty. Suggested beliefs exercises. Beliefs change. Circle of excellence. This is an efficient belief change exercise where you enter an imaginary circle on the floor. As you step into the circle, you imagine having a really beneficial belief and envision what changes, however little, when you have that belief. If you're unsure what could be a useful belief, use one of the NLP presuppositions above. This is an example. Try feedback is always useful. What would change if you truly, really believed it was true? It is often helpful to finish the exercise individually with all the NLP presuppositions above. Which worked the best? What other beliefs could you now explore? What would you do in a different way in the future if you held one of these more useful beliefs? Imagine yourself doing it at a more suitable time in the future. Beliefs change. Submodality change. This exercise checks out how we represent beliefs in a different way based on how highly our company believes or disbelieves them. First and foremost, we need to select 3 beliefs. The belief we want, that we do not believe in yet, for instance, people that work hard enough can make it in this industry. A recommendation belief that we are definitely certain about. This is an example. I can feel my knee with hand. A belief we neither believe or disbelieve. For example, something we do not truly care about in any case. For example, what it may or mightn't say on the front of a tabloid paper. We then determine how we represent each belief. What are the images, sounds, and emotions associated with that belief? What are the qualities of each belief? For example, let's take the belief, I love chocolate fudge sundaes. When exploring any pictures associated with this belief, I might ask, am I associated, that is seeing the sundae as myself, or am I disassociated, that is watching myself look at the sundae? Is the picture of the sundae large or small? Is the picture still or moving? Is the picture clear or uncertain? Is the picture in color or black and white? The next step is to put the belief we want into the representation and submodalities of the belief we don't really care about. We'll find with this representation, we will neither believe or disbelieve it. Then we will snap it into the depiction of the belief we highly believe in. As we do this, we'll start believing it more. NLP Beliefs Exercise. Make a note of 5 beliefs that you accept absolute certainty. They can be very simple. For instance, I love my dog. I actually like ice cream. The world is round. This is a useful warm-up exercise to remind us how we represent strong beliefs. Review the NLP presuppositions, which appear above. Choose 2 that would be beneficial to believe strongly. Psychologically practice what it would be kind of like being certain about them in the future. Play a short movie in your head of what it may be like. What changes for you? When you've read the submodality part, generate the submodalities of your 5 certain beliefs. Think of any limiting beliefs you could have. Choose the most restricting. What would it be more helpful to believe? Run through the submodality exercise above. Chapter 3. NLP Hypnosis and Meditation. Hypnosis and meditation cause altered states and have been used since civilization began to help us relax, focus, and increase wellness and creativeness. There are many resemblances between meditation and hypnosis. The main distinction is meditation is about acceptance and being open to whatever happens, whereas hypnosis is more directional. It has to do with assisting us or others to something better. A perfect position is totally appreciating what we already have and moving towards something better. Hypnosis. Hypnosis is a natural process. We wander in and out of hypnotic states all of the time. Using hypnosis to just wake people from non-useful states can be just as advantageous as getting them into good states. It works to think of hypnotism as another amplifier to enhance any NLP method. Basic concepts. Number 1. The power of obscurity. If we give our clients just a structure with no content, they will typically fill the spaces in the structure with the most useful content for them at that time. A blank space is often more helpful than providing the, or actually, our, answer. Saying, "You might choose to take the action you know is right," for example, is totally unspecific. It is for this reason really difficult to deny straight out, and this allows the client to relate the words to what's really essential to them. Number 2. Rhythm. Rhythm, tonality, and flow are essential. We bath our clients in sound. Number 3. Shock and pattern interrupts are convenient, provided we use them to lead someplace beneficial. Number 4. Pace and then lead can be used by referring to something that is irrefutable true in their world. When they accept what we say, we can lead them someplace more helpful. Number 5. Anything that presupposes a hypnotic state usually causes it. Encourage any conduct that supports your client going into hypnosis. Say, "That's right," or "That's actually good," if you observe things like slower breathing, eyes fluttering, increased flaccidity of muscles and skin, dilated pupils, and lower lips being redder. Number 6. Utilization. We can use anything that's going on. For example, if an automobile alarm goes off as you are helping your client deeply unwind, you could incorporate this disruption and say, "You could see an alarm, and as the alarm gets quieter, as the automobile goes further away, it will allow you to focus more on what is very important to you." Number 7. Fractionation. Many small pieces weaved into typical discussion work incredibly well. Little, but typically, works well simply because too much prematurely can make clients awkward and leave them wanting more. Number 8. Get into rapport. Go into hypnotic trance and the client will follow. Number 9. A deep hypnotic state can also be thought of as a natural state of deep rapport or deep learning. In a hypnotic state, we can usually change or with and. And then the golden rule. We are responsible for the effect of our communication and our clients' well-being. Language patterns that help us take advantage of hypnosis. There are 4 kinds of language patterns that are particularly beneficial for helping us get the gain from hypnosis: commands, embedded commands, linkage expressions, and process language. Commands and embedded commands. With a reliable hypnotic command, the client acts on it before thinking. One way of attaining this is by embedding the command, by which we mean packaging it with other language. Always learn commands first. Know particularly what you want people to do. How do you want them to feel? The easiest step at times is to ask or tell them straight. That is, stop, listen, feel good, enjoy, start now, and so on. Commands have more impact when your voice tone decreases and it is said as an indisputable command, not as a question. The command is stressed through some gesture or voice change. The voice reflects the meaning of the words. All our nonverbal communication is in agreement with the command. We can hide the command by embedding it into a sentence, and hence the description embedded command. Product packaging the command with other words can typically distract our clients' logical thinking. Examples are things like, fortunately, you can command and if you were to command and when you command and an individual can command and you do not need to command and you should not command and examples of expressions to set up embedded commands. Now at the end typically amplifies the impact. Fortunately, you can. You might want to. I wouldn't tell you to. If you were to. I don't know if command is the best thing you can do. If I were to. What's it like when you? A person can. It's not necessary to. You really shouldn't. You don't have to. You can. And versions. Why is it some people see X and others do not? What is it that will help you to know whether to do X or Y? Linkage language. As humans, we like to associate ideas, even when there's no sensible pattern present. The easiest linkage word is and. We can connect 1, 2, or 3 accurate declarations with a statement that leads our client somewhere helpful. Presenting some unquestionably true statements before a useful command makes the speaker more trustworthy and the command more acceptable. For example, you're listening to me, assuming they are, and you want to unwind, if they do, and you've begun to relax. Now, command, and you are now going into an actually useful relaxed state, command. When can be used as a stronger variation of and. For instance, you're listening to me and you want to unwind, and when you have started to see that you've begun to unwind, that is an indication that you have the ability to get into an actually deep state now. Process language. Process language combines all of the above, giving your client an effective direction, but no or really little content. For instance, you have actually been listening, and as you sleep and dream tonight, you will go through all the ideas we have explored, add some of your own, psychologically rehearse them, and to your pleasure and surprise, start executing the most useful of them when it's both safe and beneficial to do so. And something else that might surprise you, when you least expect it, you will start to notice when others use these patterns and copy the very best and add them to what you do quickly. Suggested exercise. Draw up what you would like others to do and feel. Construct ingrained commands that you could use, and pick an appropriate place to use them. Then mentally rehearse using them efficiently. Start seeing how your associates get others to take action. What state are they in? What commands do they use? How could you enhance what they do? Start noticing what's likely to be true in your associates' world. 2 suggested books: Richard Bandler's Guide to Transformation and Stephen Heller's Monsters and Magic Sticks. Meditation. If you practice meditation routinely, you get more consciousness of your internal procedures, greater focus, and concentration, and increased capability to release undesirable feelings and manage your state. Practicing meditation requires a touch of courage and discipline. In its own way, it can be hard work. The art is to develop the habit of practicing meditation, preferably daily, but for at least 10 minutes 3 times per week. Components of meditation sessions: a peaceful environment, a focus, such as just breathing to break the likelihood of distracting thoughts, a let it happen, non-judgmental mindset. There's no such thing as good or bad meditation. We are either practicing meditation or we are not. Anytime we lose focus, which we may do usually, we simply come back to our focus. A comfortable position with a straight back and no likelihood of dropping off to sleep. Chapter 4. Luck. We can get stuck in a state of mind, which means we miss opportunities. Luck isn't something that comes from absolutely nowhere. Lucky people work at it. There are 4 ways you can increase your luckiness. Do some things. Stay active. Look for new experiences. Discover new people. Opportunities don't find you. You need to find them. Do things in a way that feels comfortable, but work on the edge of your comfort zone. Listen to your gut feelings. They are necessary. Take steps to improve your instinct by being still, practicing meditation, listening to yourself. Anticipate all the best. Fortunate people expect to be successful when they try something, so future speed anything you try. Turn misfortune into good. Bad things do happen, so don't overblow them. Although it's good to be positive, this does not mean you avoid the rough stuff. Just make sure you learn much from it. In some cases, we find out more when things fail than if they had gone right. Chapter 5. NLP Profiles Explained. NLP profiles, meta-programs, are sensory filters particular to each of us. Those are usually expressed in a person's choice of language. Finding out about meta-programs helps us better understand ourselves and others. All of us have different choices. In this area, we explore 5 crucial NLP meta-programs so that you can decide your own choices and begin to be familiar with the choices of other individuals. We will then look at how we can use this consciousness to impact and motivate ourselves and others. 5 NLP meta-programs. Which of the following set of words do you resonate with most? Or are you somewhere between the two? Motivation level. Which set of words appeals the most? A. Do it. Jump in. Get it done. Just do it. Right now. B. Think about it. Wait. Evaluate. Figure it out. Learn more. If your preference is A, you're more on the active side. If it is B, you're more on the reactive side. Motivational direction. Which of these appeals the most? A. Attain, get, have, get, achieve, result. B. Avoid, prevent, remove, resolve, get rid of, so we don't have to. If your preference is A, you are more on the toward side. If it is B, you are more on the away from side. Motivational source. How do you know if you have done a pretty good job? A. You simply know. B. Feedback. Others tell you, others see. If you know instantly, then you're internally referenced. If you really need feedback or external recognition, B. You are externally referenced. Motivational choice. Which of these sets appeals the most? A. Opportunity, variety, possibilities, lots of choice, break the guidelines, do it in a different way. B. The right way, initially, second, Third, procedures. If you resonate with A, you're more on the options side. If you resonate with B, you are more to procedures. Working organization. Which of these sets appeals the most? A. People's names, feelings, thoughts, relationships, people I know. B. Tasks, systems, things, goals, procedures, what I did. If you resonate with A, you're more people-oriented. If you resonate with B, you're more job-oriented. How these meta-programs can help us communicate and impact. Many of us are impacted more by one set of words than the other. This can even mean that we just do not knowingly hear the other set. When we speak using the words that resonate with others, it's a lot more likely that they will listen to us. The simplest way to ensure this happens is to sometimes use precisely the exact same words the other individual uses to show themselves, with a similar tone of voice. When we're attempting to work out which side of the profile they are likely to prefer, we can use words from both sides till it becomes clearer. For example, when it comes to motivational level, we could start with, "We have thought about it thoroughly, we've evaluated the information, and we're now ready to dive in and just do it." The more we can align to our clients' and our audience's preferences, the more they will listen to us and the more we can influence them. Suggested exercise. Imagine that you need to give a presentation. Make a note of a sentence or expression that would attract both sides of each meta-program. Inspirational level. Active or reactive. Inspirational direction. Towards or away from. Inspirational source. Internal or external recommendation. Inspiration choice. Options or procedures. Working company. People or task-oriented. Chapter 6. Modeling. Let's explain what it is first. Modeling is most likely the most important NLP skill. By observing and copying the ways others achieve results, it's easy to suggest and try out different approaches to see what works for us. The screening part is vital. It is only by testing our work that we're able to improve. Just like all NLP approaches, before you begin, think about what you want to accomplish. The 3 most common objectives of NLP modeling are: developing techniques to improve performance, designing bad behaviors as a way of knowing which techniques we really need to keep from or to change, using modeling to understand or know somebody better. The more we understand the way our clients think, the simpler it is to develop rapport. There is a truism. If you want to find out something, just ask and watch. Then add the steps, test and improve, and you are on the way to become a pretty good modeler. 5 advised approaches. Number 1. Simply ask. At times, we make life needlessly tough. If you wish to know how to do something, find some people who are proficient at that thing and ask what they do. The test is, can we make it work for us? If that doesn't work, then move on to the approaches beneath. Number 2. Eliciting NLP strategies. This is using meta-model and method extraction questions to identify the method, sensory series that causes a result. In asking these questions, choice points become clear, causing remarkably easy change. The best way to become good at this is through continual practice of meta-model and technique elicitation questions. It truly is all about practice, practice, practice. Beneficial questions to generate techniques include: they might be repeated several times. What happened before that? What took place next? What does that mean? Tell me more. How do you know? The technique lets us determine the triggers and anchors that give us keys to encourage or discourage specific behaviors. Suggested exercise. Select a behavior that you wish to change. Elicit the sequence you go through to accomplish that behavior. Determine the triggers that motivate the behavior. Make some little changes to the technique so that you get a better result. For example, if we want to check out eating more healthily, we might have a trigger that when we see a chocolate trifle that we're drawn to eat it. We want to change the result of the trigger and, for instance, drink a glass of water instead. Future pace. Imagine that a bit of time in the future when we see a trifle, we are reluctant, smile, and after that, drink a glass of water. Test. Intentionally seek a trifle and see how simple it is to drink a glass of water instead of eating the trifle. Number 3. Pure NLP modeling. This is a type of deep hypnotic trance recognition and has a comparable structure to the perceptual positions exercise. Choose your success model. Select somebody with skills you wish to check out and improve. It is very important that you have seen them perform the activity you want to model, either in reality or on movie or video. The more time you spend watching and listening to them in a neutral state, the better. Imagine them performing. Sit comfortably and imagine watching and listening to this individual perform. Play a movie in your mind of their performance. Picture yourself getting into rapport with them as they perform. Imagine, in any way that makes sense to you, drifting into their body. Replay the motion picture as them. Let them do the work, but see, hear, and feel what they see, hear, and feel as you replay the film. Float back into your own body, again in any way that makes sense to you. As you leave their body, take all the learning that works to use now and/or any appropriate time in the future. In your mind, replay the movie with you as the main character, exhibiting all of the beneficial attributes of your model. Repeat once or twice, so you feel comfortable with your performance. Break state. For instance, fixate on the floor and notice the texture of the floor covering, and after that, continue with whatever you want to do. Find a safe environment and practice your new skill. Keep practicing and take in any helpful feedback. Number 4. Robert Dilts Sensible Levels. Firstly, decide who you wish to model or what skills or abilities you want to develop. Remember, NLP is about designing the best, so set your sights high. Set up a conference. You're going to be shocked who you'll see if you come over as genuinely interested, and there are tons of others to see if they do not. Use a recorder and ideally set up to see people in their offices. I have some extremely fascinating recordings in bars and clubs, but the background sound blanks out the content. And remember to listen. Sometimes questions that don't make any sense to you get the best answers. You have actually chosen someone simply because they're good, so let them know and keep any confidences that are necessary to them. You might ask, you have a reputation at being good at people networking. Are you happy that I ask you some questions about it? Mix and match the following question sets. Environment. Where and when do you do it? Behaviors. What specifically do you do? If you were going to teach me to do it, what would you ask me to do? Abilities. What abilities do you have that enable you to do this? How did you learn how to do this? Beliefs. What do you believe about yourself when you do this? What do you believe about the individual you're doing this to? Identity. Do you have an individual objective or vision when you're doing this? Other questions. How do you know that you are good at this? What emotional and physical state are you in when you do this? What happened for you to be good at this? What are you attempting to accomplish when you do this? Who else do you suggest I speak with about this? Note: when you have more experience in doing this, and the questions end up being automatic, you could choose to get into deep rapport with your topic and imagine what it would be like to actually be your topic as they're describing what they do. This is a big step towards true NLP modeling. Number 5. Marshall Goldsmith's Feed Forward. Feed Forward is a technique developed by Marshall Goldsmith. It conquers the difficulty that in normal circumstances we are not too keen to take or give feedback. For more, read What Got You Here Won't Get You There by Marshall Goldsmith. Step 1. Pick one conduct that you, if you changed it, you would experience considerable development in your life. For instance, I want to be a much better listener. Step 2. Describe this objective in a one-to-one discussion with anybody. It could be your spouse, kids, boss, buddy, or colleague. It could even be a stranger. The individual you choose is unimportant. She or he doesn't have to be a specialist on the topic. This is an example. You say, I want to be a better listener. Practically anybody in an organization knows what this means. You do not have to be a specialist on listening to know what good listening means to you. Likewise, the person doesn't have to be a professional on you. If you have ever found yourself seated beside an ideal, complete stranger and continued to take part in earnest, sincere discussion of your problems with that complete stranger, or vice versa, you know this is very true. Some of the truest advice comes from complete strangers. We are all people. We know what is true. And when a helpful idea shows up, we do not care who the source is. Step 3. Ask that individual for 2 suggestions for the future that might help you attain a positive change. If you're speaking to somebody who knows you or has dealt with you in the past, the only guideline is that there can be no reference of the past. Every little thing is about the future. For instance, you say, I want to be better at finding good clients. Please suggest 2 ideas that, if you were in my position, you could do to find new clients. The other individual suggests, first, I would find a reason to drop a note to all my previous clients inquiring for a brief catch-up session. Second, I'd find 6 people who appeared to be proficient at attracting clients and ask them if they would share the approaches they used. Step 4. Listen attentively to the ideas. Take notes. Your only guideline is that you are not allowed to judge, rate, or review the suggestion in any way. You can't even say something positive such as, that's a great idea. The only reaction you're allowed to use is, thank you. The idea is to be truly thankful for their effort and time. Know that some of the ideas that we might have at first are dismissed, actually end up being the most beneficial. This has been NLP, Hypnosis, Meditation, and Changing Your Beliefs. Written by Hendrik Kramers. Narrated by Sarah Margrave.